Let's talk to Andrew Montford, director of Net Zero Watch, because let's face it, after all, it's been a big weekend for Ed Miliband. He got a piece in the paper. That's right, he wrote a piece for The Observer, in which he basically broadcast a whole barrage of lies to the general public about what he was doing, not least saying that GB Energy was creating a marvellous sort of situation for everybody to get cheaper energy, not least not aligning himself with the view that actually gas prices are falling, oil prices are falling, and yet our electricity prices are still going up, which he says is down to fossil fuels when it clearly isn't. And then he said a load of schools in London are going to have reduced electricity bills because they're spending £2.6 million of not government money, of taxpayers' money, to put a load of solar panels on the roofs. I mean, I don't know how he gets away with it. Andrew, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
I mean, how does he get away with it? It's all cobblers, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, part of the problem is that there's so few people in the media questioning him, present company accepted.
Yeah.
That he does tend to get away with it. He really has a cheek to say some of these things. I mean, he was going on about Richard Tice, saying that Richard Tice was lying about net zero. I mean, Ed Miliband and his energy department are the biggest source of disinformation on the net zero in the country. I mean, Ed Miliband actually, he's gone out of his way to make sure that the truth never comes out.
Right.
If you go back to Claire Coutinho's time under the Conservatives as energy minister, she actually commissioned a full costing of net zero. First thing Ed Miliband did when he got in power was to cancel it.
Right.
He just doesn't want people to know the truth.
No, because the truth would finish him off for good politically, because the truth is that net zero is unaffordable, unachievable and completely unworkable. Apart from that, it's a great idea.
Absolutely. I mean, we're feeling the pain already, aren't we?
Yeah.
Bills are going up, and he's trying to kid on that it's something to do with gas, but the truth is that the gas price has returned almost to where it was before the crisis. The big thing that's making your bills go up is subsidies to wind farms and solar farms, and the cost of expanding the grid to accommodate them. That's a much bigger factor. It's probably 3 times as much as anything that the gas price has done to your bills. So he's lying. And he needs to be called out on it. So well done you, Mike, for sort of banging on about it.
I mean, I will
getting the truth out there.
Yeah, I mean, I will continue to do so because I don't mind politicians having different ideas to me. I don't mind if they wish to have a different political agenda to me, but I do mind when they start just telling lies and using wrong information and shall we say at the very least very heavily edited information to try and make their point when it's clearly disingenuous and it's not true. I just won't have it.
Yeah, no, quite right too. And yeah, you and I think just need to keep going on this. He is on the back foot, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think there are rumours circulating that Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves are pretty unhappy because I think the public perception is that Ed Miliband is a bit of a madman and he's leading us to a very, very dark place.
Yes.
And if we're going to get growth back, Ed Miliband is going to have to go. He is probably the major barrier to growth in the UK. If he goes and you put in somebody sane there, I don't know whether there is anybody sane in the Labour Party, but there must be somebody.
Yeah.
Then we can start getting back to growth. But it's not going to happen with Ed Miliband at the tiller.
No. I mean, people say to me that one of the reasons Keir Starmer is kind of, caught like a rabbit in the headlights is because Ed Miliband, and they say this now quite openly, Ed Miliband and Angela Rayner are kind of untouchables because they represent the left of the party. And he's obviously terrified of the left of the party, which is why he stayed silent on this whole trans debate. He doesn't want to say anything about the Supreme Court ruling, even though, he loves a legal framework. He loves a law until he doesn't. And so people believe that he's too scared to get rid of Ed Miliband because apparently the left love him.
I think that's probably right. I mean, I think the left is still extremely powerful in the Labour Party, and it'll be interesting to see after the local elections whether they retain that strength or whether the feeling will change that if there is a Labour wipeout, as seems quite possible, then I think Labour is going to have to take a long hard look at itself and say, can we carry on down this crazy road with our electricity prices going ever upwards? And they are going up again, aren't they? they are going to have to sort of say, okay, we're going to need to change tack. You can see the unions who, again, they're pretty hard left, but they are also getting nervous about this. They are sort of asking questions about the North Sea now, and manufacturing industry must be terrified that they're
exactly.
be out of a job
One
soon.
of the reasons we know, for example, that British Steel as an entity will probably fall into the sea is because they basically can't afford their electricity bill. £700,000 a day, I think, is currently what it's costing them to run the business, because the electricity is that expensive, and that will end up having a knock-on effect where people can open factories and warehouses in France, in Germany, where the electricity bill is a third or less than half of what they're paying.
Absolutely right.
So why would you run a business here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there's this crazy idea that we're going to stop making steel in blast furnaces, powered by coking coal, and we're going to move to arc furnaces driven by electricity. We have the most expensive electricicity in the Western world. It's a non-starter. It's just not going to happen.
And have you noticed as well how they've stopped using the words coking coal or coal, and they call it raw materials? They talk about, we're going to bring some raw materials in to keep the steelworks going. And you go, just call it coal. But they don't want to call it coal because it remind everybody that they shut down the coal mine in Cumbria that could have supplied the coal. And I had James Murray on, from the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves's deputy, effectively, or one of them, who told a blatant lie to me when he said that, we couldn't have used that Cumbrian coal because it's the wrong kind of coal, which is complete rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, this has been confirmed quite widely now, I think, hasn't it? That was another lie. That they apparently it has relatively high sulfur content, which meant you couldn't use it on its own, but you were going to blend it with other types of coal, and it would be absolutely fine. And apparently, this is what they do all the time. They blend different types of coal to give it exactly the right characteristics. So yeah, load of nonsense. But they keep on with these myths. This is the problem we have, is the people running the country are not serious.
No.
It's been said before, they're kind of more like student politicians than real politicians. They want to virtue signal rather than thinking deeply and seriously about policy and fixing the problems that face the country. And they think if they don't mention it, we'll just forget about it. Don't mention the coal. They'll just keep calling it, and after a while they'll forget that it's coal. And actually, to a point, they have won that, because with the media now, particularly kind of some of the television broadcast media, they have such short attention spans. If the Labour government say, no, look over here, there's something over here to look at, they just go over there and they never come back and ask the question again. Yeah, I mean, I think if you like, much of the mainstream media, the BBC and ITV and Channel 4 and things, we will look back on their performance over the sort of the last 20, 30 years and just say they have been an utter disgrace. They have essentially tried to silence any dissent on global warming, climate, energy, renewables. They just won't allow the questions to be asked on air. And this is absolutely shameful. And I hope that it leads to the end of the BBC and the licence fee, because they deserve that as punishment for what they've done. I mean, they've done bad things to this country.
They totally do. You're absolutely right. And Nigel Farage this weekend said, net zero is the new Brexit. And I think when it comes to the media coverage of it, it absolutely is.
Yeah, I think it is very much the same thing with the BBC, either silencing one side of the debate or just going out of their way to demonise them and trying to sort of other them, and it is pretty disgraceful. I mean, Net Zero Watch and our friends at GWPF are the main voices of scepticism. We never get on the BBC. We're never allowed to put the case against net zero, and I don't suppose we ever will be in the future either. We are just beyond the pale, if you like, and it is disgraceful by the BBC.
It really is, particularly since you pay for their existence, which is really what quite irks an awful lot of people. But Andrew, listen, we'll carry on the good fight here. Don't worry, we're overtaking it with every single day that we operate. Andrew Montford, director at Net Zero Watch.